What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another update. And look, it's no secret at the moment, Spurs are in full-blown crisis at the moment. No manager, no women's manager. Paratici has been banned from worldwide football. Kane's future is in doubt. And on top of all of that, they are considering a season ticket price hike, which is unbelievable.
Oh, I got Stellini and Mason in charge now. It's all good. Nothing to see here.
But look, we got the news yesterday about Paratici. The club took a while to respond and did give a statement at 8 o'clock last night. So let's go through that statement and then we'll go through some other bits and pieces. But the statement reads, following media reports today regarding the FIFA Disciplinary Committee decision to extend the worldwide sanction imposed by the FIGC Federal Court of Appeal on Fabio Paratici on the 20th of January 2023, the club made urgent inquiries to FIFA. FIFA has late this afternoon responded to us in writing, notifying us today, Wednesday the 29th of March 2023, that a decision has been made by the FIFA Disciplinary Committee to extend the FIGC sanction worldwide. This committee deliberation has taken with no advance notice to any of the parties involved. We are urgently seeking further clarification from FIFA as to the details of the extension and its variance from the FIGC sanction. We should like to make it clear that when Fabio conducted the interview and on the club channels yesterday, neither he nor the club had any indications of this decision being made by FIFA based on the fact that the FIGC sanction was taken on the 20th of January 2023 and remained subject to an appeal on the 19th of April 2023. We shall keep you updated on this matter in due course.
We had no idea this was going to happen. Oh my God, golly gee, what is this? A worldwide ban? I can't believe it. Where's this come from? Like, it's unbelievable, the gall they have in a statement to say they had no idea this was coming. Everyone knew this was coming.
It kind of reminds me of the statement that they made after the Super League as well. Just like, oh, we had no idea that it would have this sort of impact and the fans would care this much.
I mean, this is different. It was widely reported that the Italian FA had appealed to FIFA to extend the ban worldwide, and this was coming. This ruling could have come at any moment, and for Spurs to turn around and say we had no inkling that FIFA were going to make this ruling, and we had no idea this was coming. They're either really, really incompetent or they're just lying to our faces. It's one of the two.
Probably a bit of both.
Probably a bit of both. But I mean, how the hell can they get away with that? Saying they had they just didn't know, as if it's just hit them out of nowhere. This ban. I mean, it's quite frankly ridiculous from the club's power. And then also they've put out a statement stating they had no idea this ban was coming, so it makes them look incompetent. And then they also don't say what they're planning to do with it. They're just saying we'll keep you updated. So
absolutely nothing.
The statement says nothing and just makes them look stupid. That's all that's happened here, basically.
Yeah.
And it makes a mockery of the fact that they put
May as
out.
well stay silent if you're going to put out something like that.
100%. There's no point coming out and saying anything when you're going to say nothing, make yourself look worse, and then also not say what you're. The only reason to make a statement at this point is when you know what you're planning to do with the situation ahead. So they clearly don't know what they're doing with the situation ahead. Paratici's been banned from worldwide from all footballing activities, right? Also means he can't negotiate transfers, he can't speak to agents, he can't even start the managerial search, he can't speak to prospective managers because he's banned right now from full footballing activities. So you've got to deal with that situation when you know what your plan is, what the strategy. Either you're letting him go, or I mean, I don't see any other option but to let him go. I don't see why you would keep him. I don't know.
Why is he still at the club? When this news came out, right, whenever it was, I think the original news, straight away, Agnelli, Nedved, all these guys resigned from their football club, and we've still got Paratici working in the club. There's been so many different opportunities to sack Paratici. There's literally been so many. First of all, when the news first broke, when Agnelli and Nedved resigned, when Conte when they went their separate ways, and also a couple of days ago, when this news started filtering out. So I mean, there've been 4 different opportunities to get Paratici out the door, and they still haven't done it.
Yeah, I don't understand what the upside of keeping him right now is. The only potential, I mean, it's not an upside at all. The only thing I can think of logically is that they're thinking if they can appeal and he can get off and then he can resume his duties. But that's, first of all, that seems to be a long shot. And second of all, he's like, this guy is guilty, man. He's guilty of what he did at Juventus. Why do you want the PR disaster of having somebody who's been found guilty as director of football? I mean, I know it's already here, but why are you keeping it on? Just cut ties, cut your losses at this point. And this is also stopping us from moving forward in terms of our new managerial search, how we're moving forward as a club, like what's going to happen this season. The longer this rumbles on, the longer we can't find a new manager, we can't have those conversations, we can't even negotiate for new players and all this stuff. Also, we can appeal a decision to ban him from worldwide for footballing activities so he can resume his duties as director of football. I think it's farcical that this situation is upon us right now. Just cut ties. And also, like in terms of like managerial search, I don't even know if I want him in charge of my managerial search anyway. Even if all these things weren't apparent right now, like the fact that the managerial search under him 2 years ago was a bit of a disaster anyway. To me, I think we should cut our losses right now, and I just don't understand what Spurs are just committing PR disaster after PR disaster right now, and it's like I don't understand the use of this statement. Like, why say anything when you don't have a plan yourself to move forward? What's the point? Like, I don't see the point. All it does is make you look worse right now. What you should do is stay silent until you have a plan in place of how we're going to deal with the situation. Once that is in place, then you tell everyone. That is the whole point of a statement, because the statement is to communicate with the fans what you're planning to do. So they've decided to communicate with the fans that they don't know what they're doing. Yeah. That is what I'm hearing from this board. That the communication is, we don't know what we're doing. So why say? Why not at least just keep it under wraps until you do know? It makes no sense to me.
There's no excuses. No, there's no excuses why they shouldn't know what they're doing right now. Like this, they've known whatever they say in this statement. They've known this news has been coming for a long time now, a while, and I don't understand Look, I've said it on record. I've said it in the past that I'm happy with the kind of level of signings Paratici's brought through the door. But this is not the question right now. The question is the integrity of Tottenham Hotspur, the integrity of Daniel Levy.
And having a man who could do the job.
Exactly. and having a man that's actually legally allowed to do the work that's being brought up. But what I don't understand...
Imagine appointing a manager who's just like legally not allowed to like do formations and pick the team. What is going on?
What I don't understand is what has Paratici done to earn this kind of loyalty from Daniel Levy?
I don't know.
Like, since when has Daniel Levy been so loyal to someone before? He sacked Martin Jol at half time. And he deserved the sack way less than what Paratici deserves right now. Exactly. How many times?
Sacked Mourinho 6 days for a cup final.
You know what I mean? Like, what has Paratici done to earn this loyalty from Daniel Levy? Please tell me.
I can't tell you that. I don't. Maybe it's because I guess the logic I would say is that when he did come in, they restructured the footballing side a lot around having him as director of football, and I guess they don't want to admit defeat on that with all that restructuring that went past. Levy was supposed to have taken a step back from footballing things, and they gave a lot of control over to Paratici, and so they don't. I'm guessing they don't want to just rip it all up if they don't 100% need to. But I would say at this point, you 100% need to.
You know what? Our sporting director's been cooking the books at Juve, but we'll keep him there for a bit longer.
He can't do the job. He can't direct. Like he's legally not allowed to direct football.
They're saying if they go through the appeal process, then that'll buy them a little bit of time.
In 10 days, he can do his job for 10 more days. Fantastic. Well, we're gonna get everything done in those 10 days, basically.
Everything,
and then he won't need it. And I think the whole thing is farcical. I don't get why he's still at the club. He should have been pretty much sacked immediately after he was found guilty. Now that it's been extended to worldwide, to be honest, I understand if they want to take their time over the decision, get everything together and say like...
But that time should have been the time that's already elapsed.
That's also true. But if they now the ban's been worldwide, I understand if they want to take a few days to kind of, legally just make sure they're crossing every I, dotting every I and crossing trusting every team when it comes to sacking Paratici, and they don't want to, I don't know, somehow be sued or whatever. So take a few days to make a decision. But to put out a statement on the day that the decision was made to say we had no idea this decision was coming and we don't know what we're going to do about it, just seems ridiculous. What's the point? Just keep quiet. Just shut up and make a decision. That's all we want. The communication from the board level to the fans is quite frankly ludicrous, and I don't understand what they're thinking making this kind of statement right now. It makes no sense, and there's no point to it. There's absolutely no point to it.
This club is just in absolute turmoil right now. It really is, and it's hard. It's hard to watch. But what Sky Cava and Matt Law were saying on the situation, pretty much what we've covered already. But Sky Cava said Tottenham had no notice before FIFA said this morning, without naming him, that Fabio Paratici was being banned worldwide. Spurs have been consulting their lawyers before they release a statement. Obviously, that came out before the statement was made. And Matt Law says that Paratici's worldwide ban was said to have thrown Spurs into chaos on Wednesday, with Paratici's future now in serious doubt and lawyers thought to be studying his and the club's options. It is understood that Fabio Paratici has 10 days to request the grounds of the FIFA decision. During that time, the Italian could be allowed to work. So we got 9 more days.
Fantastic. We bet it's going to be the best 9 days you've ever seen in director of football history. I just don't understand. So every respected journalist in football knows that this decision is coming. Every football fan channel and every fan knows this decision is coming because they read the news. The whole of Juventus, all the board members of Juventus knew this decision was coming because they all resigned, and they resigned on the day, so they knew this was coming. So the only people in the whole of world football who didn't know this decision was coming was Daniel Levy and the Tottenham hierarchy. Is that what we're meant to believe?
Yeah.
That the whole that's yep. So if we're taking their word at face value, they're the only people in the whole of football who didn't know this decision was coming. Is that right?
Yeah, that's absolutely spot on.
I'm sure. Let's just I will just take their word for it, I guess.
Yeah. We
poor them. Wow, it must be really
it's really hard.
It must have really been a shock for them.
I know, it's crazy. Like how can something like this just burst out of the blue like
Can't believe it.
It's nuts.
Can't believe it.
But yeah, my hearts really go out to Daniel Levy and the Tottenham board for having this sprung on them in the last minute.
I know, it must be so hard for them.
But Sammy Mokbel was talking about Fabio, and he said Fabio Paratici was adamant that Conte should see out the season at Tottenham, and the club decided otherwise and proceeded with his departure. Gaston Edul, who's a reliable South American journalist, says that Cuti Romero would have given an ultimatum to leave Tottenham Hotspur if Antonio Conte remained in his job, having been left unhappy with the Italian's recent comments. And also Richarlison would have given an ultimatum if Antonio stayed as the Tottenham coach. It's actually mental to think about, like, fine, you can understand Richarlison, but someone like Cuti Romero, who I thought would have been well in line with the Antonio Conte vision and everything like that. So we're figuring out it's not just the old players, it's the new players as well.
Definitely. We know Richarlison and Conte didn't see eye to eye after the Milan game when Richarlison complained about his lack of minutes. And Conte then in turn kind of accused Richarlison of being a bit selfish and thinking of himself and not the team. So we know that there was a bit of friction there, and maybe that led to Richarlison really falling out of favour with Conte. But when it comes to Romero, it is a bit surprising. Obviously, it was a big moment, him getting sent off in the Champions League game. That really did hurt us at that time, and maybe Conte had some words with him after that. But I thought Romero by and large was pretty good under Antonio Conte, and I thought he did go through a period just before the World Cup where he wasn't playing so well, but I thought by and large he's actually been pretty effective and pretty good, and they seem to be on the same page. So to hear that Romero was going to put an ultimatum is a bit surprising, but this journalist is definitely reliable. He's been spot on whenever he talks about Romero, and whenever he has an exclusive about Romero, he's usually absolutely spot on. So I have to believe it, and maybe it's because he sees a lack of direction in the club right now, and he thinks we need to be doing something different. We know Romero as well, the way he likes to play, that aggressive proactiveness. Maybe he wants to be in a more proactive team as well, and that would help him. Maybe he feels like that would help him, and I do think he would definitely suit being in a more proactive team, to be honest. The way he plays, that would definitely help him. So from that point of view, ultimatum seems very strong for someone like Romero, but maybe I can understand why he would want to change a manager.
Is he like a full Spurs player now? Is he still on loan, Romero?
No, he's signed. We signed him permanently. Yeah.
So I mean, just after signing up, you're giving ultimatums to the football club, which is absolutely mental. But can you really blame them with the way the state of the club is at the moment?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, maybe again, when you're talking about players giving ultimatums and unless the manager leaves, that again leads to a culture of true player power, and how if the players aren't happy, they're more than happy to throw the coach under the bus instead of digging deep and working hard for the team. They're always thinking, we need to get this guy out. I'm going to down tools, and maybe this is another more evidence of that and what Conte's talking about around the culture of the club. And you saw with Arteta, anyone what Arsenal did. As whatever you want to say about Arsenal, whatever, what they really did was, if someone wasn't on board with Arteta, they didn't back the players, they backed the manager, and they got rid of the player. Whether that mean cancelling his contract or selling the player or whatever it meant, if you weren't on board with the manager, you were out. And I guess it's easier to do when your manager is committed to the club long term. And I guess the fact that Conte wasn't, that caused problems. But at the same time, you could say it was hard to back the manager, but that's how as well. You get everyone on side and everyone on board, and you get a cohesive strategy. Is whoever's not on board with the manager, you get rid of, and you have to back the manager to make sure everyone's on the same page. And I guess where the problem is that Conte wasn't committed long term, so I guess it's hard to do that.
Yeah, and it's also specifically hard to do that when you've brought in a bunch of players and they've recently turned against the manager. I mean, Kuti, Romero and Richarlison only have just come in. Mm-hmm. Romero come in at the beginning of last season. Richarlison's come in at the beginning of this season. And if these players are alienated, then what are you supposed to do? You can't get rid of every single player in your squad.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the writing was on the wall. After Conte alienated the players with that interview, there was only one option, wasn't there?
Yeah.
And that option has been taken. But let's talk about Daniel Levy now. And Matt Law says that sources now rate this as the worst crisis Levy has ever faced in his time chairman at Tottenham Hotspur. As I mentioned before, no men or women's team manager at the moment. Current sporting director Fabio Paratici is currently banned in worldwide football. Kane's future is in doubt with 1 year left in his contract in the summer. And there is a considered massive season ticket price hike for next season as well. A source says, on top of all the problems that are obvious for everyone to see, staff morale levels are at an all-time low, and Levy has isolated himself. It's a complete mess. God. Sammy Mockbell says that new Tottenham manager search is now the Daniel Levy show, and there aren't many at the club willing to tell him that he's making a mistake. After Fabio Paratici's suspension, the expectancy is for Chairman Daniel Levy to assume control of the impending appointment. So it sounds like a bit of a dictatorship. No one's willing to speak up and say, Daniel, you're doing a bit of a mistake here.
It's always been a dictatorship, and that's been a big problem when it comes to how we've run the footballing side. It's Daniel Levy's way or no other way. And the fact that we're hearing there that people aren't willing to tell him when they think he's wrong, that's a massive, massive issue. And that's why we're in the situation that we're in right now. Because he probably doesn't have... you have to have a balance when you have a big responsibility like Daniel Levy. You need people to tell you to your face when you think they're doing wrong, so you get both sides. If you're just basically saying it's right because I say it so, that's never going to go. It's never going to be a good path to go down, especially for a football club. So the fact that we're hearing people can't tell him when he's wrong, that is leading to massive, massive issues.
I understand. Does he not have trusted advisors that are willing to say, no, Daniel, you're actually wrong here, or does he just have only advisors that say, oh yeah, you're
yes
right,
men.
You're right,
That's what he likes.
You're right.
That's what he likes. He likes the yes men. That's who he's always got on with best at the football club. People who are willing to say yes to him. Whenever people like Mourinho and Conte, I mean, for some reason he's hired them and then always got into conflict with them. It doesn't really make sense. It's never really worked in that sense. And in terms of it being the biggest crisis that Levy's ever faced, I mean, we'll go back 2 years and it's the same thing. So in fact, it was 70 days without a manager 2 years ago. So I mean, we haven't hit that stage just yet, and I wouldn't be surprised if we hit that stage soon. But the fact you can throw in the director of football as well, that you can say then it's worse than it was 2 years ago, considering that we didn't have a director of football 2 years ago.
I think it is worse than it is 2 years ago. I think this is the biggest crisis that he's faced, and it's going to take something big to see us come out of this the other end, like anytime soon, in my opinion.
I think it's got the potential to be. I don't think we've hit it just yet, only because of the fact of all these things, the managerial search and Kane's future, all that kind of stuff. Like, we haven't hit the point yet where Kane is demanding out. We haven't hit the point yet where we're 70 days without manager. Yes, it's got the potential to hit that point, and it may well hit that point in a couple months' time. No, don't get me wrong. And then we can safely say for sure this is the biggest crisis. But as of right now, there's still time to sort all this stuff out. We could sack Paratici tomorrow and get a director of football and get everyone on the same page, all this kind of stuff. We can still sort this mess out. Don't get me wrong, it's an absolute shit show of a mess, but we can still sort it out. The point where it was 2 years ago was we didn't sort it out. We let it fester, and we let that whole situation get out of control. Right now, it's still within our control if they just take the lead and sort it out. But right now, for me, it has the makings of the biggest crisis that we're in, for sure.
Yeah, hard to disagree, but that is the situation. Spurs are in full-blown crisis mode at the moment. I just
don't understand people who look at this situation and think the board don't have any culpability. You know what I mean? It drives me crazy.
I'm seeing even big Levy in people right now turning. I'm seeing a lot of stuff going against Daniel Levy on social media, where usually people are sticking up for him, and I'm seeing a lot of tweets being like, "Oh, I usually stick up for Daniel Levy, blah 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 blah." But now, how can you possibly stick up for him anymore? Seriously, this club has gone from, like, if you cast your mind back to when we made no signings under Pochettino, has there been like a right decision like ever since then from Daniel Levy in a key decision? I think every single decision since then has been completely wrong.
And that's like 5 years of wrong decisions.
Yeah, when you're looking at it, right? No transfers for 18 months, where we're still suffering from that now. Sacking Pochettino after the Champions League final. The money that we spent that summer as well was completely dreadful. Hiring Jose Mourinho, sacking Jose Mourinho 6 days before a final. The Super League happened, and hiring Nuno.
70 days without a manager.
72 days without a manager. Hiring Nuno, sacking Nuno 2-3 months was probably the right decision, to be fair.
Maybe that's the only one they got right.
And then hiring Antonio Conte, who was a completely wrong fit for this football club. So I mean, name one right decision there in all those key decisions,
and not sacking Paratici.
Yeah, and not sacking Paratici.
So add another one to the list.
Yeah,
all the big ones, the key ones, where it's really on the hierarchy to get right, they've got them all wrong.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. That is it. Spurs are in full-blown crisis mode at the moment. I'd love to hear your opinions on the topic in the comment section below. But thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always,